Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
A 19-year-old charged with the murders of 2 Long Island women. The government allocates $4 million to aid in the fight against the coronavirus. Things heat up in Parliament over details of the Grand LUCAYAN sale. Plus, a look inside the police force's chemistry lab.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joachim. Topping news tonight, a 19-year-old Long Island resident has been charged with the murders of 62-year-old Jane Harding and her 34-year-old daughter, Melissa Huey, whose bodies were discovered days after they were reported missing. The teen was also charged with rape as the victim's tearful family members looked on in the magistrate's court. Jasmine Brown has details.
The 19-year-old faced serious charges in court today as he was arraigned on murder and rape charges. 19-year-old Nathan Harding appeared before Chief Magistrate Joanne Ferguson Pratt. Harding, who was mostly silent during his arraignment, was charged with the murders and rapes of 34-year-old Melissa Huey and her 62-year-old mother, Jane Harding. Harding, seen here in the mint green top and black and white jacket, was not required to enter a plea during his arraignment. It is alleged that the 19-year-old Long Island resident carried out the crimes between February 25th and February 28th. Harding was expressionless as he held his hands clasped in front of him as the chief magistrate read the charges against him. However, one relative of the murder victims quietly grieved in court during the proceedings. Her sobbing got noticeably louder as the 2 rape charges were read aloud in court. The bodies of the 2 women were unearthed on Friday on a beach in Salt Pond following a lengthy search that included police and Long Island residents. Harding's attorney, Bjorn Ferguson, told the court his client attempted to hurt himself in custody and informed the court that he wanted to make an application for Harding to be remanded to Sandilands Rehabilitation Center. However, Ferguson Pratt said due to the nature of the charges, Harding would be remanded to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. She also said she would make a note for him to be seen by a psychiatrist at the facility. Before she adjourned the matter, Ferguson Pratt asked the teen if he had any family members in court. He pointed out his 2 sisters, and the chief magistrate allowed them a few moments to speak as the victim's tearful family members looked on. Harding is expected to return to court on May 21st when he will be served with a voluntary bill of indictment. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest revealing today that government has allocated $4 million to aid in its coronavirus fight. The virus has caused a global health scare with officials around the world scrambling to respond. While the United States has recorded 135 cases, including 9 deaths, Health Minister Dr. DWAYNE says health officials here at home are preparing for the virus.
The government of the Bahamas has set up, under the guidance of the Prime Minister, a task force, a multi-ministerial task force. It is informed by the Chief Medical Officer and the other technical members of the team. We have met multiple times for the last month, and there is a very robust and comprehensive plan intended to respond to known and possible ongoing threats.
Government is also bracing for a dip in tourist arrivals and, as a result, a potential dip in economic activity in the country. Opposition leader Philip Davis criticized government's response to the global health threat.
This is an evolving situation. We are happy with the concurrence of the government, of course, to invite the opposition for a briefing.
Tourism Minister DIONISIO insisting today that the future economic benefits brought about by the sale of the Grand LUCAYAN resort will outweigh the losses government suffered. Jared Hicks tells us his comments come as PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper called on government to reveal the details of the heads of agreement.
Man, you can't look at that little $30 million. You think about all this investment that's going to come there and all the jobs it's going to create. 3,000 indirect and direct jobs, please.
It's the $50 million question, or $100 million, depending on whose numbers you go by. Was government's decision to purchase a hurricane-damaged hotel for $65 million, hold on to it at an estimated cost of $30 million, and sell it for $50 million in the best interest of Grand Bahamians? Both government and the opposition acknowledge that Grand Bahama, a struggling island that has seen far better days, needs a break. The tourism minister says this deal was just that, and with insurance payouts, he claims government broke even. However, he admitted that government did go in the red.
There are some operating losses, we'd understand that. But think about the future revenue streams of 2.5 million foreign visitors, the $300 million investment.
Details of the sale between government and joint venture partners Royal Caribbean and the ITM Group have not yet been revealed. Deputy Leader of the PLP, Chester Cooper, called on government to bring those details to light.
The devil is in the details. We want the Bahamian people to have the details laid on the table of this House.
It is unclear when, if ever, government will table the heads of agreements signed on Monday. Past deals signed by previous governments, including the Christie administration, have never been revealed. Still, Cooper insisted.
We want to know how much in dollar terms was paid back to the developer in terms of rebates and concessions, and we want to know the exact number of that proposed or mentioned insurance amount.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Cabinet has approved 135 work permits for reconstruction at Bakers Bay, according to Labor Director John Pinder. This comes just a day after Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson said there are not enough Bahamians to handle the construction work needed in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. Pinder told Our News that Bakers Bay requires skilled foreign workers who are more familiar with the type of construction required.
As long as a government head of agreement, so to speak, is signed, is actually dictated to the Minister of Immigration, who's a part of the cabinet, he'll be a part of the decision-making process. They say that they need X amount of work permits to jumpstart a project. And so in this case, that is what happened. The cabinet gave approval for the Bakers Bay project to be jump-started with, I think, 135 work permits.
Well, more Bahamians are finally being given the opportunity to work on the point construction site, according to the Labor Director, who suggested the Bahamas' travel ban on foreigners who recently visited China due to the coronavirus is a blessing in disguise. However, Pinder says foreign workers on the site still outnumber Bahamian workers.
What they said was that they wanted to bring some persons in, but the coronavirus actually slowed that down, so they couldn't bring the persons who they wanted to come due to travel, putting a stop to the travel thing. And that was a blessing in disguise.
Back in January, the Labor Director expressed disappointment in the ratio of foreign to local workers employed at the point. However, as the deadly coronavirus continues to spread, Pinder said many of those Chinese workers planning on returning to the Bahamas to work on the point have been stopped.
A number of them were not able to come in to the country to finish the project as they so said is necessary. But I believe it's fair to say that Bahamian contractors are being given an opportunity now to prove their skills and to prove that they have the ability to complete that project without having to bring in all these foreign laborers.
The coronavirus has been blamed for over 3,000 deaths worldwide, with 90,000 confirmed cases. And though Chinese labor at the point development has decreased, Pinder said he's still not satisfied with the amount of Bahamian workers on the project, saying Chinese workers still outnumber locals.
And last time the ratio was still not what it should have been. I can't give you the exact ratio, but I can say to you that it was still double foreign workers compared to Bahamians. And it should have now been more, it should have been 3 to 1 Bahamian ratio, not foreign ratio, but it was like around, I think it was around maybe 35 to 40% now Bahamians, and still the rest is foreign laborers.
The Labor Director said he's still not sure about the reported ratio of Chinese to Haitian workers at the point, adding his department is set to conduct a site visit in the near future.
As a matter of fact, that's on the agenda. I expect my team to have that report to me in another week or two as they reach the follow-up at the point.
Still to come, finance officials prepare for the potential economic fallout from the coronavirus. Stay tuned.
Phone is good. Internet is good. TV is good. But why just pick one thing when you can have everything with Tria? Only $99 a month gets you phone, internet, and cable. That's everything you need for $99 a month. Ask for TRIO. Call 601-2200 or email residentialsales@campbahamas.com. Rev, you and us together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. Weeks after they went on strike, members of the two water and sewage unions gathered outside the corporation's University Drive location today. Giorgio Bain tells us why.
We will leave no stone unturned and having this chairman removed, because this seemed to be very tyrannic. He's a tyrant in this place. So we ask the powers that be one more time to please do the honorable thing and move this micromanager away from the corporation, please.
Both unions here at the Water and Sewage Corporation holding a general meeting during their lunch hour, stating that issues here at the corporation have not improved, and they're standing in solidarity with their brothers and sisters in Eleuthera who've been out of office since Monday due to a mole-infested office. Water and Sewage Corporation employees on Eleuthera are engaged in a sick-out due to an alleged mole infestation that has spanned for several years, according to the union presidents, who added that with Abaco not fully on board, Eleuthera is one of the corporation's largest collection centers. However, that process is being hindered by the sick-out.
As I stand here before you, employees of the Water and Sewage Corporation in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, are sitting outside of a mold-infested, leaking building, as declared by the safety manager of the corporation. The situation has been going on since 2017, and only as recently as Monday did I, as union president, advise the manager to stay outside of the building, which the corporation, by its own admission, is known to be unsafe for human habitation.
One of the two men claiming to be the president of the managers union, Montgomery Miller, said while the issue has been acknowledged by the corporation, it would seem to not be a matter of priority for the powers that be.
And in the meantime, what has the chairman and the general manager been doing? They have refurbished the executive suite of the corporation. They have upgraded the conference room of the corporation, spending tens of thousands of dollars, while our employees suffer in mold infestation.
Both unions are currently engaged in court action with WSC. A judicial hearing has been set for March 20th regarding who has the authority to act as president of the management union. Meanwhile, an inter-parties hearing for an injunction putting an end to strike action has no confirmed date until that judicial hearing takes place. The unions continue to air numerous concerns and continued calls for Executive Chairman Adrian Gibson to be removed from his post. Miller called for the financial reports of the corporation to be laid on the table of the House of Assembly, a system change which would result in monthly billing and smart metering. Reporting for Our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
The rapid spread of the coronavirus is creating an immediate threat to the near-term performance of the Bahamian economy, according to Finance Minister Peter Turnquest, who said his ministry is working on a strategy to address the economic fallout should the deadly virus pop up in the Bahamas.
Given the serious health impact of this virus on individuals and the understandable concern of people everywhere, we do have to be concerned. The government continues to exercise an abundance of caution to ensure that we mitigate the growing risk. In fact, the Ministry of Finance has already begun to discuss and develop contingency plans to address the potential economic fallout should the virus show up in the Bahamas.
Turnquest, who addressed members of the business community at World Fidelity's Business Economic Outlook this morning, said the current climate crisis and U.S.-China trade war are also impacting the economic outlook and sustainability of countries like the Bahamas. Given those challenges, he said BEOB 2020, held under the theme Colliding Global Interests Assessing the Impact, is very relevant.
Hopefully at the end of the day, we will all be able to walk away with some new insights and some new tips as to how we want to be shaping the Bahamas, our economy, and being proactive in terms of strategies to ensure that we not only face today's challenges, but we position ourselves as a country to in fact get ahead.
Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell defending a suggestion by party leader Philip Davis, who proposed that government provide women and children with whistles as part of a plan to help deter crime. Here's what Davis said at a news conference on Tuesday.
We need to heighten neighborhood patrols, provide women and children with complimentary whistles, provide an online predators list that is updated regularly.
While the PAP leader's comments were met with sarcastic reaction on social media, Mitchell released a statement today responding to the criticism by pointing out that anti-rape advocates urge women to use rape whistles to sound the alarm during an attack. Davis said his concern for women's safety is personal as he is a father and husband.
As a father and a husband, I can't help but to become riddled with fear for my girls who as adults come and go as any of these victims do, to and from work, the grocery store, business meetings, all alone. The mere thought of having a similar incident penetrate my home, by extension, is unbearable.
Still to come, a look into the police force's chemistry lab. Stay tuned.
Phone is good. Internet is good. TV is good. But why just pick one thing when you can have everything with Trio? Only $99 a month gets you phone, internet, and cable. That's everything you need for $99 a month. Ask for Trio. Call 601-2200 or email residentialsales@cablebahamas.com. Rev, you and us together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. For decades, narcotic arrests have been a major part of the work of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Behind the scenes, the force's chemistry unit has been tasked with testing evidence and helping cement those cases in court. Jasmine Brown visited the lab and filed this report.
Police investigations are more than just responding to scenes. It's also about processing forensic evidence. The Royal Bahamas Police Force Chemistry Unit may be small in size, but it plays a big role in thousands of drug arrests. Located at police headquarters, the unit is manned by several officers who specialize in forensic science. Their job is to test suspected drugs from crime scenes across the country. But that's not all they do, according to forensic chemist Inspector TAMERA Campbell.
The bulk of material that we get in here to test are suspected controlled substances, so that's mainly what we do. We are also capable of analyzing fire debris in suspected arson cases, and we also analyze any chemical related to a criminal event.
While they can clearly test for a lot at the lab, we were given a taste of one of their most commonly used methods when testing for cocaine.
And then this here is a sample of cocaine. All right. So that means, however this behaves, you expect whichever one of these powders is cocaine to behave the same way.
After placing the white substances in the test dish, Assistant Scientific Officer Sergeant WILLARD McKenzie then drops a solution into each dish, looking for them to have the same results as the cocaine sample.
All right, so that's the color of the cocaine standard. So then any of these other. So say I didn't get a change in that one. These would give me a positive color change. So that means I continue to test these two. Whereas this one, I would not.
Right.
All right. Now I'll explain why we use that just a screening test. One is cocaine, one is lidocaine, one is caffeine. And so lidocaine has the power to give a positive in the cocaine test. So with the caffeine, I know, okay, there's nothing there, so we don't have to test.
That test is just one of many performed at the unit on a daily basis. Campbell says their work is vital in ensuring that police conduct well-rounded investigations.
When police officers submit evidence to the lab, our purpose is to analyze that, to ensure that there is a case to answer.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.